You thought you understood the drama, but hang on to your seats, people, for we have a controversy hotter than anything reality TV has ever seen. Betrayals and backstabbing. But this is extraordinary. Kirk Frost and Mendeecees, the two titans of hip-hop and love, are being banned from reality TV, and I assure you that you will be astounded by the astounding explanation behind it. Was it a crazy, is scandal a mistake that ends a career, or is it something more sinister and combustible than what we've been told? Sources are leaking a lot of information. After years of being at the heart of love and hip, there comes a surprising twist in the saga that no one anticipated coming, and it's nearly too much to stomach. Kirk and Mendeecees are now the greatest misfits in reality TV history, but why? Hop's most memorable episodes include family feuds and infidelity suspicions. Why would a program that relied on its drama to build its empire suddenly abandon them? What transpired behind the scenes that resulted in their startling, but stick with me because, believe me, at the finish of this, you won't ever believe how much more scandalous and profound this controversy is. Take another look at Kirk and Mendeecees. You believe they were untouchable and would successfully weather any scandal that was thrown at them. Think again. These two are now dealing with the most significant crisis of their careers after years of being at the center of hip-hop drama and love, and it's all ready to collapse in their faces. But how did it occur, and how did two of the most recognizable personalities on reality TV wind up being banned from the whole? Let's take a closer look at the business. Kirk Frost, the former fan favorite and adored bad boy who is now a family man, has played a key role on Love and Hip. Since day one, he has had his share of scandals, including suspicions of affairs, adultery, and even a baby mama story that stole the show. But Kirk always found a way to return to the limelight, capturing the admirers' attention with his erratic behavior, regardless of how intense the situation became. Mendeecees, who made his time in jail seem like a stepping stone in his career, left a legacy that extended beyond love and hip-hop. Being a beauty with a tale of redemption that captivated viewers, his family turmoil, his union with Yandy Smith, and the court cases, these two were the love and hip-hop power couple that everyone adored, and they were the show's mainstays, always keeping the audience on the edge of their seats. Hatred and their names were associated with drama for years, but things took a significant change, and some close to the program are claiming that it all began. Kirk and Mendeecees' relationship, which had been tense for a while, had now reached a breaking point with whispers behind the scenes. Producers, who are always looking for drama to add to the program, spotted the tension in a chance, but they were surprised by the subsequent explosion culminated in a love and hip-hop after-party, which was only intended to serve as a brief wind-down before to the proper reunion performance. But behind closed doors, Kirk and Mendeecees' conflict escalated into a full-fledged fight that would ultimately lead to a startling fallout, as many sources have verified that Kirk and Mendeecees were at odds and that there were allegations of background trash talk. It didn't sit well when Mendeecees reportedly said that Kirk was a washed-up spouse who only remained relevant due to Rasheeda's achievements. It was a ticking time bomb ready to go off when Kirk, who had spent years creating his own reputation, refused to allow someone like me to be insulted. According to reports, the argument began with some expletive words, but as emotions increased, so did the violence. Kirk, the proud veteran, was always there. With his back against the wall, he was being disparaged by fans of the Love and Hip Hop series, who accused him of not adding anything new to the program and even of attempting to create fictitious feuds in order to remain relevant, which was made worse by the fact that Mendeecees had been outspoken about how Kirk's previous turmoil was taking center stage. And this was the height of insult for someone like Kirk. He couldn't let it go and had the audacity to remark, "I'm holding the show back from a guy." Kirk apparently raged to his fellow cast members after being released from jail. Before being picked up by Yandy, he was hardly important. What did Kirk do? Challenged Mendeecees by himself behind the scenes. When they met backstage, the scenario was set up for a violent confrontation that nobody could have predicted. What began as a contentious discussion over the show's direction and each of their responsibilities within it quickly developed into the last straw for Kirk's jaw was when he reportedly ridiculed him, his haughtiness evident in every word, saying, "Personal, perhaps you should fix what's broken," gripped his face twisted in rage, and the altercation quickly became violent in front of the cast members and the producer's crew. Kirk, who was renowned for his fiery attitude, pushed Mendeecees so hard that he staggered back into a chair as punches began to fly, and then the security rushed in to attempt to stop the commotion as the punches started, sending chairs tumbling to the ground and shattering glass everywhere. Break up the fight, but it was too late. The harm had already been done both professionally and physically. What was meant to be a low-key after-party became the spectacle of the year, and naturally, someone had taken out their phone. As soon as the battle started, everything was recorded on video and prepared for posting. Videos of the brawl were posted online for everyone to see in a matter of minutes, and social media users were shocked since this was unusual. The whole world was watching, and fans swiftly took sides, with some supporting Kirk and claiming that Mendeecees had no business disrespecting a pioneer of love and hip-hop. Others joined me in accusing Kirk of being the aggressor, but it was evident that nobody was ready for the things took a nasty turn behind the scenes as love and hip-hop producers and executives scrambled to deal with the fallout that would follow. This wasn't just any brawl, it had the potential to ruin the whole brand, and the producers were concerned about the optics. They couldn't just ignore this like other on-set altercations. This one was too heated, too violent, and too destructive. The altercation was captured on video, and now by the end of the evening, it was evident that Kirk and I had been sacked and placed on a blacklist, putting the whole franchise in jeopardy. An emergency meeting was convened, out of the picture, and the producer's name, trust, and whole image of love and hip-hop were at stake. It was no longer simply about the fight. We're concerned about fan outrage to legal action and the potential for the battle to spark other problems that no one was prepared to take on. Kirk and Mendeecees were prohibited from future love and hip-hop recordings in a decision that shocked the industry. Two of the most well-known personalities in reality TV were abruptly fired and given no second chances. However, the question remained, was it really the end for them, or would they manage to return? This wasn't only a narrative about two guys fighting on set. It was about respect, power, and ego. Kirk Frost, the self-described king of hip-hop and love, wasn't going to let this go uncontested. He wasn't going down without a fight. Fight for his reputation and Mendeecees. He was resolved to demonstrate that the program couldn't just discard him. But was it too late? Had the harm already been done? Time would tell, but the repercussions of Kirk and M's raging confrontation was nothing short of spectacular. The reality TV industry was completely upended. Not only did the iconic altercation at the after-show recording result in smashed glass and broken chairs, but fans couldn't stop talking about it. Utterly destroyed, these two reality TV stars meticulously crafted personas. Yet while the audience were still trying to put together the mayhem, the executives at Love and Hip Hop quickly realized the gravity of the situation after seeing the true war just getting started behind the scenes. This was a serious scandal that could make or ruin the whole franchise. Producers, not simply another altercation between the actors. We were in a panic mode, wondering how they could prevent their brand from collapsing and how they could remedy this. The issue wasn't limited to Kirk and Mendeecees. Had created an atmosphere that was much too frank and hazardous to be allowed to continue unchallenged behind closed doors. The executives were almost instantly. Videos of the brawl went viral as people tried to figure out how to manage the fallout from all that had transpired. Flooded social media, and followers were sharing their thoughts. The internet was split, with some people claiming that Kirk had every right to protect his heritage. Some contended that Mendeecees was justified in defending himself, but there was little doubt that the battle had gone in his favor. One unnamed production team insider told us how the execs were rushing this beyond what Love and Hip Hop could broadcast for entertainment value. Was the worst-case scenario scarier? We've had fights on set before, but this time it was genuine and deadly. Drama is something that people adore, but this wasn't the kind of drama we can ignore. This was something that might ruin a career, and the consequences were more important than the argument that followed. Legal issues were suddenly front and center. There were worries about litigation, possible damages, and even the possibility that the production would be investigated. Firm be held accountable for allowing this conduct to continue. The love and hip-hop industry's image had long been based on turmoil, but there had been a crossing of the line that nobody on the network was prepared to overlook. Therefore, it was decided to blacklist Kirk and Mendeecees, preventing them from making any additional appearances or using any cameras, observing their every action. There were no more plots. They were done. But Kirk and Mendeecees weren't about the love and hip-hop executives making their choices to sleep well. The next morning, Kirk was pacing his living room in an attempt to comprehend the news, thinking, "This isn't real. This can't be happening. I've been with love and hip-hop from the beginning, and I created this program because they need me." But Rasheeda always has the soothing voice of reason, saw the writing on the wall, and knew that this day was coming. "Kirk, you crossed the line by touching him, and now that it's out, there's no returning from this." Kirk wasn't listening to him. This wasn't only a battle, it was about his history as one of the greatest hip-hop and love artists for years, and now they were dismissing him as if he were nothing. His name was a bad word for the program, and his abrupt and dramatic departure, he was caught talking nasty while traveling across the nation, and it seemed like a betrayal. "They can't simply do this. They own me. They can't just delete my past like that." Mendeecees and Yandy were seated in his living room when he got the same call, and his body stiffened up instantly. "No, this is some __," he said. Yandy, who had always been the voice of reason in this situation. "But I lost it. I've been through too much to let this be the end. They need me on this program." Their bond wasn't as strong because she understood how the business operated. "You've been on the program for years, guys, and they've decided it's over." Mendeecees was devastated because he always believed that he was vital to the play and that this couldn't be the end of the tale for us. Even though Kirk and Mendeecees were fuming with rage and fury at the idea of being cast aside so quickly, they knew one thing for certain: we're not going to accept this without a struggle. Within hours of learning that both guys had attorneys on the phone, they refused to allow this happen. Mendeecees was resolved to find out whether he could file a wrongful termination lawsuit since he felt deceived by the same show that had given him the firing, and they were going to fight it. According to reports, he informed his counsel, "Fame and fortune aren't just about a fight. This is about respect and my legacy. They can't just push me." Apart from this, Kirk was thinking more broadly and wasn't just focused on his profession in hip-hop and love. He was also worried about his "if they think I'm simply going to vanish. They've got a whole brand, an empire," and he wasn't about to let it all fall apart over one mistake. But as the days passed, he allegedly told a pal, "I built my name, and I'm not going to let them erase me from reality TV history." Became more clear that Kirk and Mendeecees' battle would not be as simple as they had imagined, since the industry was allegedly working against them, or circulating that they were being completely banned from reality TV, and nobody wanted to interfere with their previously prosperous professions in the field. According to many reports, TV was now on the verge of going out of business since no network wanted to risk Kirk and Mendeecees' dispute because it had created too much harm, and suddenly both men's reputations were in ruins. According to a prominent producer, this is about trust, not simply a fight anymore. If Kirk Mendeecees' inability to manage their fury makes it impossible to trust them on another program, the possibility that they won't ever be on reality TV again makes them a liability. Their dominion was collapsing, and the networks weren't prepared to take the chance, so what had appeared unthinkable became all too true. Then came the news that would make all the difference. A source close to many networks verified that the reports that they were banned were accurate. Touching them, they've created too many enemies and are too much of a liability, and we don't need to deal with another PR catastrophe. What comes next for Kirk and Mendeecees? Will they be able to move beyond this and launch their own platform? Or is this really the end for them? In the realm of reality television, Kirk Frost and Mendeecees saw the stark reality as the days became into weeks. This was previously a business based on their faces, identities, and drama were now disappearing. Their impact was diminishing, and the reports of blacklisting had not only been verified, but also their personal, and despite the fact that their careers were on the line, these two men managed to establish their reputations by working their way up into this wasn't the end of their journey, however. Rather, it was the start of a new chapter in the cutthroat world of reality TV, and you can bet that Kirk and Mendeecees, Kirk, feeling disgruntled and abandoned, spent no time attempting to save his profession, which he had established for himself, and they weren't going down without a fight. He wasn't prepared to fade into obscurity, so it felt betraying to have all he had developed over the years on hip-hop and love ripped away in an instant. I'm not going to have made my imprint in this field, and I won't allow any error undo everything I fought for, Kirk allegedly said to his closest pals. What was the next step for him? Well, the response was that I'm going to make sure people know the truth, and they'll respect me again if I have to battle for it. Evidently determined to steer his own story, Kirk Frost promptly contacted his attorney and demanded that they file a wrongful termination lawsuit. This isn't merely regarding the altercation. Kirk allegedly said that it was about legacy and respect. They had taken advantage of me for years and now wanted to destroy me. But that was never going to happen. Didn't stop there. Kirk was committed to revealing the inner workings of hip-hop and love. I created the program, and without me, it wouldn't exist. He said he understood the power of public opinion and the media, and he wasn't going to ignore the setback when Mendeecees was battling his own issues after being sacked. For someone who had established his brand on the program was one thing, but being banned from the reality TV business as a whole was quite another. Although he knew the business, Mendeecees was not one to give up despite the severe danger of leaving the television and public persona industries. Understood how to stand up for what was rightfully his, so like Kirk, he began to push back. However, Mendeecees took a different tack, refusing to fight via the judicial system. In an emotional Instagram live, Mendeecees launched a campaign on social media to demonstrate to his followers that he wasn't going down without a fight. With tears in his eyes, Session Mendeecees told his side of the tale. I've gone through a lot, he said, his voice breaking. I've been away from my family. I fought fights that no one is even aware of, and now this is happening. But I'm standing up and refusing to let anything stop me. I won't allow anybody to treat me disrespectfully. I've seen him go through more struggles than this one, and Yandy was always at his side, supporting him both on and off camera. During a live session, Yandy assured their supporters that they would ensure their success every time, but despite his assurance, Mendeecees was shaken by his life. Had been founded on this business, but without the cameras and the drama, who was he? One evening, as he was sitting with Yandy, the weight of everything struck him. He said softly, I don't know if we'll bounce back from this. Yandy, ever the strategist, wasn't one to mope about his problems. We're going to find a way to make it work. She assured him that she was always thinking about the future, saying, we have our brand, we have our fans, we'll find another way. It was evident that Yandy had already started preparing. She was aware that their next step would not be simple, but she also understood that they had a fan following that no network could take away. Following and their will to succeed, we're not depending on anybody else, we don't need VH1, and we'll create our own program, she said with assurance. Toward a time when they would be in charge of their own fate, while Yandy remained hopeful, M's and Kirk's reality was beginning to sink in. After the battle, the drama, and most definitely not after the fight, the entertainment business had abandoned them, and no network wanted to get in contact with them. Reaction from sponsors and fans. Their emails were ignored, their phones were not returned, and the business had essentially shut them off. But just when they believed that things couldn't get much worse, but as the reports began to circulate, more and more people were saying that Kirk and M weren't only banned from love and hip-hop were completely banned from reality TV. They had no access to other networks or programs, and there were no fresh prospects. Mendeecees apparently said to Yandy, I'm done, no more TV. I guess this is how it ends, one evening. However, Yandy wasn't having it and knew better. refused to concede defeat, telling him emphatically that if they don't want us on their program, we'll make our own chances and put on our own show. Platforms will move it somewhere, and we don't need them because we have our narrative, our fan following, and we'll create something greater. While Enz and Yandy were planning their return, and supporters' emotions were mixed. Some said that Kirk and Mendeecees had caused this. One social media user posted, "Kirk and Mendeecees made love in hip-hop," while others expressed shock at how swiftly the business had abandoned them. "I can't believe it," but others weren't too understanding. They couldn't be startled that they're being tossed away like garbage nowadays. Someone and expect no repercussions, another user said, further escalating the escalating conflict that began as a fierce altercation and now became a full-scale PR disaster. The harm was done, and it seemed that Kirk and M's careers would never be restored. But as usual, the two men weren't finished. In their struggle for fame, they both understood that they would need to change who they were. Kirk and Mendeecees weren't only reality TV celebrities. They were, although it seemed that brands and hip-hop and love were finished, they weren't going to let the world forget who they were in spite of the growing pressure, even if the industry won't give them another opportunity. Kirk and Mendeecees were preparing their next course of action, and according to Yandy, the glow hasn't seen the finale. Keep checking back as we follow the Kirk story and Mendeecees' perceptions of reality stars who will not die without a "what do you think will happen if Kirk and somehow Mendeecees manage to return? Will their recently launched independent program be successful? Or is this really where their story ends? Careers in reality TV. Share your views in the comments below, and remember to such as turning on alerts and subscribing for further information on this developing drama. You won't want to miss what, I promise, occurs next. The battle isn't yet over. Probably not, but there you have it. People, the startling Kirk Frost story and Mendeecees are two of the most recognizable individuals. Reality TV has been banned and battling for their position in the entertainment industry, but the issue still stands. Will they recover? Or is this popular backlash really distinguished by, do you believe their careers are coming to an end? Did they get unjust punishment? Push things too far, there will be consequences. Fans return to independent enterprises, or is the chapter on reality TV over? Excellent, we want to hear from you. Please drop your ideas in the comments section below. Which team are you on? Kirk or Mendeecees? Or maybe you believe they both departed as well. If you like to remain current with each and every astounding turn in this continuing drama, be sure to use the like button. Turn on the channel and subscribe. Alerts to ensure you don't miss a shocking news. Believe me, this tale is far from done, and there will be more. Thank you for something you won't want to miss. Observing and keeping an eye on things, since you know we will constantly keep you informed with the most succulent and enticing